Today, I'll be talking about how vaping affects teenage brain development. This is an important topic because vaping has become super common among teens, but many don't understand the serious risk involved. Why I chose it? I chose this topic because vaping is everywhere, in schools, social media, and even in younger age groups. Many people think it's a safer alternative to smoking, but research says otherwise. The nicotine and chemicals in vapes can cause long-term damage to the brain, especially since the teenage brain is still developing. I wanted to learn more about these effects and help spread awareness about the real dangers of vaping. My position on the issue is simple. Vaping is harmful, and teens need to be more informed about the risk. Many people assume it's harmless or just flavored air, but in reality, nicotine is highly addictive and it changes how the brain works. I also think we need stricter rules on vape sales, especially flavored ones that appeal to younger audiences. Schools and parents should do more to educate teens on what vaping really does to the brain. One of the biggest problems with vaping is how it affects memory, learning, and decision making. Nicotine messes with brain chemicals, especially in the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of the brain that controls judgment and impulse control. According to Ben Joseph, nicotine exposure at a young age can cause long-term problems, including trouble focusing and memory loss. This means teens who vape might struggle more in school, have trouble concentrating, and even make riskier choices. Since the brain is still growing, these effects can be permanent. Another major issue is that vaping makes addiction more likely. Nicotine releases dopamine in the brain, the same chemical that makes you feel good when you eat something sweet or do something fun. Over time, the brain craves more of that feeling, which leads to addiction. Research shows that teens who vape are more likely to move on to smoking regular cigarettes or even other substances. Ben Joseph states, teens who vape are more likely to become addicted and even move on to smoking regular cigarettes. This shows how dangerous vaping can be. It's not just a bad habit, it's an addictive cycle. Vaping doesn't just affect memory and addiction, it also impacts emotions. Studies show that nicotine can increase anxiety, depression, and mood swings. Ben Joseph explains that nicotine changes the way the brain handles stress, making teens more emotionally unstable. A lot of people start vaping because they think it helps with stress, but it actually makes stress and anxiety worse over time. This means that teens who vape may feel more anxious or depressed, even if they don't connect it to vaping. It also makes them more impulsive, which can lead to risky behavior. The scary part is that these effects don't just go away. Once nicotine changes the brain, the damage can be permanent. Campbell states, nicotine addiction in adolescence can increase the chances of substance abuse disorders later in life. This means that vaping doesn't just affect you now, it can lead to lifelong addiction struggles. It can also damage brain cells, which can lead to problems with focus and memory even in adulthood. On your screen, there's a graph showing the amount of teens and how many of them pick up a vape in the first 5 minutes of waking up. Before researching this topic, I didn't realize how serious the effects of vaping really were. I thought it was bad, but I didn't know that it actually changes how the brain works. I also learned that many teens don't realize how addictive nicotine is. They think they can stop whenever they want, but it's not that easy. The more I learned, the more I saw how important it is to spread awareness about the dangers of vaping. One of the most interesting things I found out was how nicotine physically changes the brain. I was also surprised to see that some schools and organizations are taking actions to prevent teen vaping. There are even public health campaigns focused on showing teens the real effects of nicotine. It's inspiring to see that some people are fighting back against vaping culture, but we still have a long way to go. This research project really improved my ability to find credible sources. I also learned a lot about how nicotine affects brain function. Before I didn't know much about how addiction works or why it's so hard to quit. This project helped me develop better research and writing skills, and it also showed me how important it is to look at scientific facts instead of social media rumors. One challenge that I faced was finding unbiased information. A lot of vaping companies market their products as safe, so I had to be careful about which sources I trusted. Another challenge was understanding scientific studies. Some articles use complicated medical terms, so I had to take time to break them down. Finally, I had to summarize a lot of information in a way that made sense, which wasn't easy. Now that I know more about vaping, I want to spread awareness to help other teens understand the risk. Some ways I could do this include talking to friends and classmates about the real dangers of vaping, supporting policies that limit vape sales to minors, encourage schools to teach more about vaping risk in health classes, and maybe volunteering or joining a public health campaign. To wrap it all up, vaping is not harmless. It can damage brain function, cause addiction, and make stress and anxiety worse. A lot of teens don't know the risk, so it's important that we spread the truth about vaping. Ben Joseph says, vaping isn't just a bad habit. It has serious long-term effects on teen health. I hope this presentation has helped show why vaping is a bigger problem than people think and why we need to take action now.